This Steve Jones Show podcast is now loading. The Steve Jones Show podcast is presented by Sunbury Motor Company, Purdy Insurance, and bringing you an in-depth look at Penn State sports and more. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. The Steve Jones Show is presented by Sunbury Motor Company, Purdy Insurance, and Brewers Outlet. Now from the Sunbury Motor Studio, here's Steve Jones.
And the half hour brought to you by Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia. Routes 11 and 15 in Hummel's Wharf. And online at sunburymotors.com. Ford, Kia, Hyundai, the best in new inventory. Great pre-owned inventory with the Sunbury Motors guarantee. Terrific service department that backs it up every step of the way. And we're talking about quick lane inspections, routine, difficult. They handle it all at Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury, Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 in Hummel's Wharf, and online at sunburymotors.com. Neal Coolong now joins us, the outstanding one. Sir, it is always a pleasure, and you know I mean that. Thank you so much for your valuable time.
The pleasure is all mine, as always. Thank you for having me.
The Steelers, in a lot of ways, that was a dreadful performance. In junior high, if the ball hits the ground on a kickoff, it's live. Is there any particular reason a professional did not know that and just walked away?
I think my favorite part of it was seeing Kaleb Johnson jog off the field while four other guys are rushing like firemen to the fire.
Exactly.
He's perfectly in the end zone. No, there's no excuse for that. You can talk about coaching as much as you want. I understand that it is something that coaches should reiterate and make sure that people are perfectly clear on. We don't know whether that happened or not. What we know is a bunch of Joe Sweat Sox watching the game on the couch know that that's a live ball. Yeah. I like to think Kaleb Johnson got the message at some point in his career that would be a live ball. Or at the very least, there needs to be a specific reason why it is that you're not at least checking the ball. You know, it's almost like he heard a whistle or something. I mean, I don't – there's no explanation for it. There's no excuse for it. He screwed up pretty badly, and it's going to, severely damage his ability to get on the field the rest of the way. Not that he was getting much anyway. I was led to believe the team felt a little bit more about him as a running back going into this season than what we've seen through two games, even prior to the kick return mistake. Kenneth Gainwell clearly is a much bigger factor for them than Kaleb Johnson is, and Jaylen Warren is the guy that they just gave a contract extension to. So you would think if Johnson was held in high regard prior to that, we would have seen it a little bit more, but clearly this doesn't help him. And it's something that, knowing the fans in Pittsburgh, it's going to stick with him for the rest of his career, right? Regardless of what direction it goes. You're going to hear about it. But a pretty brutal mistake, and something that it really just swung the game completely in Seattle's favor, and it somehow managed to get worse after that, too. So really a rough performance overall, highlighted by a pretty terrible and regrettable mistake from rookie running back.
Yeah, look, any high school or college coach will tell you that if you're battling to get some playing time, show us what you can do on special teams. Give us a reason to keep playing you and give you a closer look. And he didn't take advantage of it.
Now, to put it mildly, he definitely did not, and that was the opportunity that he had. I mean, you look at Mike Tomlin, Danny Smith, their affinity for running backs returning kicks has been pretty obvious, certainly in recent years. It's a position, your third running back, it's a position that certainly is not going to see the ball much on offense. And if they can't chase kicks down, a guy like, Jalen Samuels, the guy that was kind of popping in my head recently, a 5th-round draft pick, got a few carries here and there throughout his career, but he was a special teams player, not a return man. He chased kicks. Did a fairly decent job of it as well. He's stuck on that roster largely because of his ability to do that. Johnson, I am sure it was laid out to him at some point that this is probably going to be something you're going to want to get used to as a rookie. And at training camps in the past, I've seen Danny Smith operate a very detail-oriented guy, even more animated during training camp than he is on the sidelines during the regular season. I have a very tough time believing that they did not go over scenarios with every kick returner, especially with the rules having changed. But the rule that didn't change was that that's a live ball. I mean, it's really there's no excuse, and I'm sure he'll hold himself accountable to that as we continue to go forward, just like he did after the game and like he did in the locker room the other day. We all know he made a mistake. It obviously was a pretty damaging mistake for the team in the moment. But yeah, you've got to be able to, as a 3rd-string running back, you better be able to play special teams or you're not going to be there. That's the situation that he's in now, and even that spot is going to be tenuous considering he can't return. So I don't know what else they're going to do with him, but it makes his roster spot pretty open. I don't think they're going to cut a 3rd-round draft pick, but this is the type of thing that will have an impact as they shape their roster next season too.
So away from that now, because it was a pivotal play, but it was still one of those like, geez. But when they run in the direction, opposing teams, of T.J. Watt, normally in general it's handled. But when they run to the other side, it seems in general it's not being handled. Why?
I don't really understand. And I've said this for years. It's you can't run away from Watt and block him with minimal protection, which is to say a tight end, in some cases, giving a chip and climbing to another level to get a play going away from him. If you don't get a body on Watt and design such a play that body has to stay with him and do everything they can to slow him down, he's going to chase the play down. And the idea typically is we'll run away from him, but it's got to be a one-cut, get-up-the-field type of thing. But if that running back goes flat at all in the backfield, which often happens, Watt's going to beat him to the line of scrimmage. And they don't get more than a yard. I mean, running away from him is really just not traditionally very successful. Now, they haven't really need to worry about that with their running ability through A-gap to this point in the season, which is historically bad for the Steelers through 2 games. But Watt can still absolutely be a force. He just has been negated by, in some cases, 3 players getting in his way. It's not even as if they're trying to stand him up. They're just really kind of putting bodies in front of him, so he's got to work through 3 people to be able to chase a play down. But a lot of plays we've seen to this point, and probably all with the exception of maybe 2 or 3 tackles for loss from the Steelers at this point, have come from Watt chasing something down on the backside. So it's a strategy that I've never really been quite sure why teams kind of engage in, and that this stands out in my mind, and this is probably just my own selection bias, but it's one the Cleveland Browns have instituted for a long time. And if you look at Watt's numbers against the Browns, he's the greatest defensive player who's ever lived. He's torn that team apart, and a large part of it is just because they don't seem to want to give him the kind of attention and kind of respect a player of his caliber should have. But we have seen him pretty minimized over 2 games, and a large part of it is they're able to get away pretty easily up front in the front 7, taking guys hat on hat. In some cases, they put 2 guys out to double team a player, oftentimes Keanu Benton in the middle, and you wonder if he's spying on the quarterback or whatever. But it honestly seems to me like the linebackers aren't moving. They're not attacking gaps. They're not getting after things in the run game. And that's leaving guys to just kind of block wherever they are. And it seems like they're going to load up on Watt because there's nobody else coming in to attack. And the offense has this 7-on-6 advantage that they're taking care of and running quite successfully through 2 weeks. It's clearly a problem, one that I would imagine the Steelers would love to see the Patriots just ignore and try to run away from Watt, block him on the backside with a tight end all throughout week 3, but I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I don't think it's going to happen either. Offensively, look, you have to play defense to your offense and offense to your defense. I feel like the Steeler defense so far has played in such a way where the offense now feels an incredible pressure. They got to put up points on every single drive, and I don't think they have enough horses to do it. What's been your thought on how they've played?
It's been kind of typical of what we've seen from the Steelers over the last 5 years, and the same recurring themes come up. You don't have playmakers. You're not making enough explosive plays. And when you do that, what you're really kind of suggesting is your defense is going to hold tough, and we're going to do the Mike Tomlin drag, the alligator dragging the prey down to the bottom of the river and just rolling on them until they die. That's how the Steelers have won a large chunk of their games in the last 5 years. They're not being allowed to do that. Quarterbacks have played very well. They've been schemed very well against defensively. And with that, their defense, I don't know exactly what the problem is. We've seen them get off to slow starts. I feel like at some point things will get fixed. I don't know how far down or long they're going to be, but a lot of this is really just gap discipline and aggressiveness. I don't know what they're asking Patrick Queen or Peyton Wilson to do at this point, but they seem to take forever to diagnose the play, that or their instruction is not to attack the line of scrimmage if they see a run. Maybe that's to not get caught up in the wash, but it seems like there are multiple gaps open that a team running zone, which is a lot of what they're struggling with right now, is inside zone. The running back has multiple opportunities and places to go, and by the time the linebacker can commit one way or another, the running back's got all the advantage. They just need to wait for the defender to commit somewhere and cut around him and go. And this is why you're seeing the first two teams anyway ripping off chunks of yardage on the ground. To me, the inside linebackers are more of the problem, and I understand that everybody is going to look at the defensive line and think that they're getting moved, and I'm not saying that they're dominating up front, but when you have two open gaps to run through and you have three down linemen that are not responsible for those gaps, it's not going to look very good. When you are able to have a guard and a tackle double team an end and there's no one there filling in, that's really kind of what the defense is supposed to do. If this happens, you should have an advantage away from that double team, but there's nobody there. So I don't know schematically what exactly they're being told to do. It really doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense right now. And judging by the tone of Mike Tomlin's press conference after the game as well as earlier, it seems like something that he's noted quite a bit. And, I don't want to say we should expect to see something different because, frankly, I said that last week. It's getting a little long in the season, even after 2 weeks, to be making these glaring mistakes and glaring errors within the basic schematics of their front seven. And it's going to continue to be a problem because, really, the team that they're playing is this Sunday, if they're going to do anything well, it's going to be run the ball. And they got a dude that can run it, certainly better than the first two that they faced. So this is the ultimate challenge for them now. It really is kind of put up or shut up time. I don't want to ignore the fact that they are 1-1, but it took a lot offensively for them to get to that mark. And if you're looking at what offensively Pittsburgh is going to need to do to get that defense off the field, they've got to be able to run the ball themselves, and they need to be able to make more plays down the field to flip the field, kind of control possession as best they can because they don't really have playmakers. Do what they can to make sure the defense has some support and doesn't have to get gashed on the ground the entire time. I really think this is more of a hand feeding the horse kind of situation. The defense has to be able to get off the field to give the offense a chance to find a rhythm, control the clock a little bit more, and be able to get a lead and sit on that a little bit better than they have been.
I will say this, though. I think Aaron Rodgers is actually playing decent football. I think through 2 games, I don't see him as being the problem.
I don't have any issues right now with how Aaron Rodgers is playing. I have not seen Aaron Rodgers make a glaring mistake. That does not mean that his stats are going to be great. Everyone wants to equate stats with quality of performance. It's not as simple as that. In case you didn't notice, Aaron Rodgers is not the one that cut off what would have been a touchdown pass, flipped the ball up in the air and to the defender's arms in the end zone. He clearly was not happy with what Calvin Austin did in that play because Calvin Austin screwed up. That was a big mistake, and they paid a price for that. We're not talking about that nearly as much as we're talking about Kaleb Johnson, but Calvin Austin, got an earful from Rodgers, and I'd imagine they're talking about it on the tape as well. It's things like that. It's operational mistakes you can't put on the quarterback. As far as Rodgers on that play, he's out on the move. He made a good throw. I will never know, but just from the camera angle that we can see, I think Freiermuth catches that ball. But Austin absolutely should not be where he is. They would not draw up a play to have two players that close to each other. It's a mistake. One's supposed to be at the front of the pylon, not in the end zone. The other one's supposed to be mid-level depth to give your quarterback the right window to throw to and to not draw everybody into one area and basically, kind of play 500 with it. Austin, he wasn't open, and he brought himself into the lane for Freiermuth. That's an offensive mistake that Austin made. It's not an interception for Aaron Rodgers. At the end of the game, Rodgers is bombing the ball down the field because they have to. They're down a bunch, and they don't really have much of a chance. The second interception doesn't matter. So you look at those two throws, statistically it doesn't make him look very good, but they're not forced errors on him. He did what he was supposed to do, in my opinion, with every throw that he's made up to this point. And he's made some great ones, too. He might have missed a little bit on one or two of them, but I wouldn't penalize him a whole lot. I think you're getting excellent quarterback play overall. You're not going to get, elite level Patrick Mahomes style quarterback play out of Aaron Rodgers at this point. But as far as his feel for the game, his feel for the offense, he's doing the things he needs to do right now. And let's also give credit to Seattle's secondary. I thought did a phenomenal job in that game. That Josh Jube kid is incredible. I can't believe that he was an undrafted player 4 years ago, cut and signed by Seattle. He's a really, really good player. He locked the Steelers down by and large, and Woolen also did a great job on DK Metcalf. He was playing him most of the game. Very competitive, heated battle between the two. And Metcalf in 2 games now hasn't really done a whole lot. So I don't think Rodgers is getting a ton of help. Offensively, they need to find a way to get these receivers open a little bit more consistently than they have been. If it were me, the challenge, I would challenge the offensive line last week. This week, to be honest, I'm going after the receivers more. They're not making plays down the field. It's largely lost outside of a couple excellent throws that Rodgers has made. The penalty, the free play ball that he threw, I think it was on the first drive to Freiermuth, that was one of the best throws we've seen from Aaron Rodgers at any point in his career. Right. And the fact that Freiermuth dropped that ball was just deflating. It's like, oh, my God, you've got to make that play. Just an incredible throw to the point where it's like, I don't know if Freiermuth even expected the ball to be coming his way. And there it was. But it's missed opportunities. It's things like that stacks up. You can't put that on the quarterback at this point. I think Rodgers has done above and beyond what you could have thought he was going to do going into the season. And he needs to drag guys kicking and screaming with him moving forward if the offense is going to have any kind of a chance.
I feel like based on the matchup, this is one of those games that I think the Steelers need to win.
It's a game they need to win against an opponent they don't ever seem to beat. It doesn't matter who's coaching it. It doesn't matter where they are. I will say this. I have more confidence than I would have if it was Mitch Trubisky going up against a Bill Belichick defense. But you're going to get a very tough, very aggressive performance from a Patriots team that's really kind of figuring things out. The one thing they're going to be able to do, though, is play fundamental football. And if I were Mike Vrabel, the only thing I'm doing this week is emphasizing discipline and control in the ground game. We're going to suck the air out of the ball in this game and just run it down their throat and control it the entire time. So, to me, there's reason to believe that we could look at something like a 20-10 complete blowout from the Patriots on this. Just simply in the fact that the Steelers have not even come close to passing any sort of test against a rushing offense to this point. And the Patriots, in Ramondre Stevenson, have a great opportunity to run the ball very well. Drake May played, I think, maybe his best game as a pro last week. Did a lot of really good things in that game. If you watch him, he's getting a lot better. Very impressed with him to this point. I wasn't sure about him, to be honest. He's exceeded my expectations to this point, and he's going to continue to build on that. This is a tough matchup. I don't want to hear anything about the Patriots not being a good team. This is a very difficult matchup for the Steelers, and right now, I mean, the Steelers are 1.5-point favorites on the road. I'd take that, to be honest with you. I don't like their chances on the road in a team that really things are going to get a lot worse if they lose this game. I know that. It doesn't mean that the season is over, but it's going to be ugly if the Steelers lose this game. They're not going to play really well and lose to the Patriots. In my opinion, it'll be the Patriots really just kind of lean on certain things that the Steelers still can't do, and they'll walk away with a pretty easy victory unless Pittsburgh can bring a little bit more intensity and try to change things up a little bit and make a few plays on offense.
Yeah, and I know that he's lost some reps of late in the backfield, but I'd still be aware of Travion Henderson. So that's just me. All right.
They both could have 100 yards for all we know. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
They could. Yep. I mean, the areas he's struggling in is the obvious. Without the ball, pass protection. That's what's hurting him, being on the field more. All right. Always a pleasure, my friend. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
Half hour brought to you by our good friends at Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 in Hummel's Wharf, and online at sunburymotors.com on News Radio 1070 WKOK.
Party time, game time, or just fun time. Doesn't matter what time it is because it's Brewers Outlet time. The beverage supermarket has the area's largest beer selection. Imports, microbrews, ciders, and domestics. Pick from over 100 ice-cold 12-packs and dozens of 24-ounce singles. Soda, snacks, hot sauces, fresh roasted peanuts. Make it one-stop party shopping, and don't forget the pickle bar. So whatever you're celebrating or just doing it up, Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street, Sunbury wants to see you. And thank you for your years of patronage.
September means the return of football, everything pumpkin spice, and the September Serrano sale at Sunbury Motors Kia.
Wanna see ya in a Kia. Sunbury Motors Kia.
That's right, the September Serrano sale is on, and SMC has 10 2025 Kia Sereno turbo models with $1,000 in Kia Finance bonus cash and as low as 0% APR financing for 48 months. The 2025 Kia Sereno hybrids have as low as 0.9% APR for 48 months with an additional $500 in Kia Finance bonus cash. And Sunbury Motors Kia has 2025 Kia Sereno S all-wheel drive models starting at just over $35,000. Remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. It's a September to remember. The September Serrano sale at Sunbury Motors Kia on the Strip in Hummel's Wharf and at sunburymotorskia.com.